Alrighty, good afternoon, folks, or afternoon on the East Coast here. I see a few people starting to filter in. If anybody has any questions right off the bat, don't be shy, get those in right away. If not, I'm going to give it a moment, let people start to filter in before I get started with any other kind of content. But again, you're joining right away. Don't be shy. Get in some questions right away. We'll get to those. Again, if nobody has any questions, we'll take a moment. Let people continue to filter in, and we will do our best to keep it entertaining and informative. So, all right. Again, my name is Chris Varley. I'm with the support and education team here at Trade Ideas. We do these at noon Eastern every market day. It's an open forum. I don't have any pre-done content. So if you folks have questions, don't be shy. Just get them in. Don't hesitate on the questions. You know, if I'm engaging with someone else in their question, still put your question in. I'm going to circle right back to it. I'll never skip a question. I don't have an answer right away. I'll let you know and get some research done and get you that answer one way or another. Outside of that, if there's no questions coming in, I'll do my best to, we'll go over some charts, some scans, some things like that, and keep it relative and informative to Trade Ideas platform. So I see a question coming in right away, signed up. What's the difference between Trade Ideas page and the platform? So I'm going to guess when you say page, you're meaning our market scope. So let me bring that over real quick. Bear with me. All right, so our market scope page here. So first thing, this is mobile friendly. If you're on the go on your iPhone or Google, whatever they got, or your Galaxy, whatever it happens to be, this page is mobile. And so you just got to be logged into your account here. You can swap back and forth between live and delayed data. If you're swapping back and forth between this and the platform, I recommend leaving this on delayed. I should rephrase that. If you're swapping back and forth between this and the download, I recommend leaving this on delayed unless you need it on live, because it's one connection at a time. This is a exchange regulation, not our regulation. So it's one connection at a time per account. And so logging in here or vice versa at the same time with the other, it'll kick one from the other as far as data goes. So if you don't want to be kicked from the data in the download app, just leave this on delayed unless you need it to be on live and make that swap then. And then this has just got a lot of pre-made scans in here, trying to do a little bit for everybody in here. You can click through these different items here on the left side. Circle that right there. And there's different kinds of scans in there, and then there's some drop-down menus with some of these scans, so you can change some of the time frames on those. So it's customizations that can be done there. You got a chart here. One thing you can do with this here is we can open multiple tabs. We tab to the right. Let's see, duplicate. That's what I want to do. Duplicate and duplicate one more time. And so I could have this one here on the trade scope 360. I could take this one and I can swap it over to, should it ever decide to load, the deep stock deep dive. And this one here, I could sectors in play, for example. Then, you know, you'd have charts on each one of those like that. So you can't have multiple tabs like this open with live data at once on this versus the download software, which is what I'm featuring here mostly. There's tons of customizations in there that can be done with your own alert windows, top lists, different what we call compare count windows, which is essentially like a market breadth type of scanning, price alerts, all kinds of things like that. So that's really the main difference right there. If you have other specific questions pertaining to either one of those, don't be shy, get those in as well. And again, for everybody else here, I see the numbers have gone up a little bit since I was last looking at them. This is an open forum, whether you're a Trade Ideas subscriber or not. Fire some questions in here for me. Do my best to answer them. Of course, this is meant to be relevant and relative to the Trade Ideas platform. You have a general trading question that's not a buy, sell, hold, ask question. Certainly do my best to address that. Of course, I'm not giving out any financial advice here whatsoever, other than save more money than you make or spend less money than you make. That's the only financial advice I can give. So Big Rands, if you got another question, don't be shy. Or if you want some more specifics on anything that we just went over as well, don't be shy. Get those in here. And again, anybody else with questions, get those in. Like to say, I cannot answer the questions that are not asked. With that said, doesn't look like anything else is coming in at the moment. So, I want to take a moment to take a shot at people that don't do homework, and my friends, the bears out there. For full reference, I am neither a bull nor a bear. I'm a trend follower. When the trend is intact, I like uptrends. That's that. But I do pay attention to chart patterns. I am on my journey to become a CMT, and we pay attention to patterns. So that's not a great one. I see some questions just came in, so let me finish this thought and I'll get to those questions. A lot of people were calling this a head and shoulders here, and you can't do too much arguing about it, except they got a whoopsie and that. And so there's other people that will argue that head and shoulders is a continuation pattern, while others continue to breakout pattern. You can measure top of the head to the neck as the distance on the pullback. Almost got there, more or less, if you want to consider that. But just in case you're following doom and gloomers out there and the NVIDIA trade was done, well, it wasn't done. And today may be the last day of it, right? And it may sell off after today. But what I can tell you is, outside of some epic collapse that could not possibly ever be foreseen right now, that didn't happen, right? So just like to take my shots at those folks out there that are fear selling and not informational at all. How to enable Brokerage Plus to automatically. There is no automation of it, Holly. We don't advertise it anywhere at all. The only automation is for alert windows you create and set up for automation. There's no bot you can just plug in. Sorry to bust anybody's bubble on that. Once I download the platform, was blown away. How technical are you? Are there pre-templates? Oh, okay. Cancel the question. I see. I got you. Yes, there's a lot of pre-done stuff in what we call our channel bars. Also, if you go through our YouTube channel, you're going to come across a lot of videos. Now, some of the older videos, some of the content may not be quite as relevant, or those scans may not exist anymore, but you go shoot us an email if you came across a scan on a video, and if we have it still archived, we'll send it over. And by archive, you just live in our personal clouds, the scans, and sometimes nobody's asking for them, or we don't use them anymore, and we delete them to clean up our own clouds. So, but never hurts to ask. Squeaky wheel gets the grease and all those things like that. So how can I reference prior 3-5-minute bars? Can't. We don't look at bars. Sorry. We look at time frames only. We have no way to reference bars within the software. In the regard you're asking there, Manish, if we come into an alert window configure and we go into the search, anything we have, if you search it, you'll find it there. But when you look at our change filters here, they're in time frames, right? So, the closest you could do is maybe the change 15 minutes here for 3-5-minute bars, but it's not doing bars, right? There's no way to do it like that. And this is a rolling 15 minutes, a rolling 10 minutes, all of our time frames are rolling, meaning that every time 1 second stops, or 1 minute is up, the next minute is starting. So essentially, if a minute starts at let's say 9 o'clock Eastern, and at 9:01 that minute is complete, then there's a rolling minute that starts at 9:01. There's a rolling minute that starts at 9:02. There's a rolling minute that starts at 9:03 for the seconds, not the minutes, if that makes sense. I just started. How do I get the Windows templates to fill the entire screen? We have, I'm not sure what you mean by fill the entire screen exactly, but any window where you see these items on it, you can certainly, maximize it out like that, whether it's the actual scan or the configure of a scan. And then, we can drag things also and size them the way we want to. Just got to keep in mind that there's real estate that needs to be there for certain things, amount of columns that there are and things like that. So for example, take my single stock window here. And if I, bunch this up too much, it starts to not look awesome for all the data points that I've got in there essentially. So just, keep in mind those kinds of things like that. And then when I say columns, maybe not just for this here, but also let's get a topless view of this into the tree map. The same thing here, right? We can scrunch things down, but it may not always be great looking based on the columns that we have and things like that. But that's how you can, make windows bigger or smaller and things like that. So road 2268, let me know if that makes sense to what you asked. Is it possible to save AI strategies as CSV? No. I don't know why they don't let you do that. Sorry. You can do it with a lot of things. Like right here, I can click drag on my topless window and save contents, and that will save as a CSV. We also have an alert logger for topless and alert windows. It only works for topless and alert windows. You can enable that by going to Tools, Options, under General, Display CSV Logger tool, and then any scan that allows for it, you could right click and click the alert logging, and that'll save you a CSV file inside your Trade Ideas Pro folder on your desktop there. But that's it for the CSV logging that we have. And then, is there a way to modify the alerts? 5-minute red bar reversals. No, alerts are hard coded, where filters have the minimum maximum. Now, some alerts have a filter attached to them, and you can make, specifics with that. So for example, this alert here, our crossed above resistance, has an hours trading filter. Pre-market highs, we can look at pre-market highs per day, like is it a pre-market high over the last 10 days or something like that. This does include weekends. Same thing, the new high here, if I add that, we could put whatever we want for days in here. So 365 days would equal 52 weeks because we're counting weekends. But when it comes to if I could type, that would help. All you can do is put the bars in here on the count. That's essentially it. So if we add any one of these here, we can count the bars essentially like that. And then you got to put a check mark in here to make sure that it's selected for that alert. But there's no way to recode anything like that. CYN 100x incoming. Okay. What if I want to change condition for red bar, higher or lower? I'm not sure what you mean by change condition for red bar, higher or lower, but essentially, I have a feeling the answer will go back to these things being hard coded here. So you have to work with what's there. Again, for Manish. CYN deals military contracts. Interesting. Cool. Good to know. Good to know. How do you add trade? I'm guessing you mean the trade wave to a chart. Yeah. So to add the trade wave, you'll need to be on our current beta version of the software. You'll know the version of your software by going to Help and About. You need to be on 5.6.104. If you're on anything but that, you can't get the trade wave. To get that, I'm going to give you a link to the download page. So there on the download page, let's walk through this together. Bear with me while I get the download page over here. You're going to open that page and you're going to select the beta on the right here. Please select the beta. Do not select this. Select this. This, no. This, yes. All right. Once you've downloaded that beta, you're going to launch the beta and you're going to right click a chart and make sure that the browser interface is checked here. So you see how I've got a check on my browser interface. And once you do that, there's an FX in the top left corner. You'll click that and the trade wave will be there for you to enable. Also, Here is a video that I did on the TradeWave for enabling that. So you can look at that at your leisure. And Carolyn, don't be shy. If I went too fast on any of that, if you have any other questions, circle those back in here for me. But I'll give you a moment to digest that. While I also address that there are 3 scans for the TradeWave. We can find them under New, Market Explorer window. I'm going to go ahead and expand this out so we can see a little better. You right-click here, select strategy, and you see a whole bunch of strategies in the Market Explorer. There's no customizing in the Market Explorer. It runs on a completely different server tech than the rest of our software does. We have to build these out and push them out to users ourselves. We wish it wasn't that way, but for now, it is that way. I don't know if that'll ever change or not. There are a few items in here that you can't get to if you don't have the add-ons, but for the most part, you have access to all of these. TradeWave you'll have access to, and so we have a daily, weekly, and 5-minute buy signals for the TradeWaves. Outside of that, you can stick the TradeWave on any chart in any time frame of any stock, and you'll get these buys and sells. And then there's some other stuff here with the TradeWave. We can bring that report up. We can change long to short, short to long. There are some other settings inside here with the TradeWave. If we click, you see the 3 lines there with the little circles. There's some other settings that we can change around in here. And should you do anything you don't like with what you did, you always press revert and set it back to the default settings. External linking not working for TOS, but work for eSignal. So really important with Thinkorswim. I use it all the time. So the biggest thing with Thinkorswim is this. Let me move this real quick. Make sure when you're starting Thinkorswim and Trade Ideas, you have to right-click both. Run as administrator. You must select that for both. Right click and run as administrator. Once you've done that, build the link for Thinkorswim, and that's really it. The one thing with Thinkorswim is I can't bring my window over right now for it, but sometimes Thinkorswim runs all these background processes and it takes the linking away. And so all you have to do is, like, wherever the order entry that you're putting it in, just click on that box again, and it'll bring the focus back there. So, like, just for example, if this here, think about this is where you enter the stock, whether it was on your chart or your order entry panel for Thinkorswim, just click back in there once the link is built, and that's it. Some people experience a runaway effect with the scans in Thinkorswim. So they'll click on a scan here in Trade Ideas, and then all of a sudden it, like, just starts filtering down, like, through all the stock like that. If you do experience that after building the external link, then just go and enable the use alternative method. So if we come to tools, external linking, you click on that link and go to edit link, and just go ahead and check that use alternative method, and that'll stop that runaway effect here. For Thinkorswim, you do not need any, you do not need a rule. So leave the rule blank, leave the beginning cutoff unchecked. You just might, not everybody needs to do it. I don't know why. It's probably something unique to each individual operating system. Microsoft is always good like that, or Windows is always good like that. So just check that use alternative method, and you should be good to go with the Thinkorswim. Like I said, use it daily. When you open a layout, all the windows fill 80% of the screen. Then I need to drag the windows and layout to fill the entire screen and save my own layout. Should be automatic. So if you, what you need to do is, when you say open a layout, this is for road 22 there. When you say open a layout, do you mean open a channel or your own personal layout? Because if it's your own personal layout, however you save that, it should open. But one thing you might want to try is this. Go to Tools, Options, and in Layouts, you may, some people have to open relative to main window. Some people need that check, some people don't. But however you save it, if you open that same layout again, it should open exactly how you left it on your screens when you saved it. And what do I mean by saving it? Let's go to File, Save or Share to Cloud. And if you click Entire Layout, then you'll name that layout here, and you save it. However you save that, that layout will open like that. Also, you can save what's called a default layout, meaning every time you open Trade Ideas, that layout will open. To do that, we go File, save layout, and then look for the default underscore layout. Click on that. If it isn't preloaded here, you go ahead and click on that and then save. And that will be the layout that loads every time you open Trade Ideas. And you could save over that a million times. You know, as you go forward and change anything with your layout, you can absolutely redo that over and over again. So I'm not in a channel. This is my own built layout, and you cannot modify channels. Channels are on our servers and we push out to all users. So what you could do is this. If you want to modify a channel, you'd save it as your own layout. So I would go through and I would make all the modifications on it that I wanted. Then I would go File, Save or Share to Cloud, click Entire Layout, and then whatever that channel was, let's just say it was the momentum channel. I'd call it my Momo channel, and then save it like that there, and then File, Load from Cloud, and you'll see that here in the loading from your cloud, and you don't need to load it from the channel bar anymore. It'll have all the things that you saved, just how you saved them like that. So that I had a feeling that's what you were running into. So yeah, because we push that out to all users. We push the channels out to all users. There's no editing it within the channel like that. So let me know, Rode, if that makes sense, and that should get you to what you wanted. And yes, we agree, absolutely. When you save something, it should open the way you saved it. It's just that the channels themselves can't be saved in that regard. Hey, Mike C, what's happening, buddy? Good to see you. Good to see you. Happy New Year to you. For those that don't know or haven't been around a long time, Mike C has been part of the Trade Ideas gang for a very, very, very long time. A great positive person to have here on the streams with us. Everett, when you say, can you set up a custom alert up 10, can you define what the 10 is? Like up 10%? Is there a time frame? $10? More likely than not, we can set something up that you're asking. I just need to, if you give me a little more details on that. Yeah, absolutely, Manish. I can 100% share those settings and the actual scans. Let me share the scans first. This is actually my main race here. I just didn't have it up on the chart. I'm going to share, I'll share all three with you. Bear with me while I do that, and then we'll get into what's going on behind the scenes. Just looking for those in my cloud real quick. So share and copy. All right, so that's the one in the top right corner. That's that link. The one in the bottom right corner, that's that link. And I don't know if I actually have a link for the other one. Let me check this out here. If not, I'll make a link for it. 10-day. All right. Yep, I do have them. And this is for the one in the middle. And then Everett, I see you followed up on that. So give me a moment. I'll circle to that. So real quick here, all races are a top list at their corner. So if we open the top list and we come over here to that top list, that's behind the scenes, we right click and come to the configure. I am looking for stocks that are between $2 and $30, trade at least 400,000 shares on the day. They've got a 5-minute Bollinger Band component in here, trying to find momentum of moving to the upper band in the spirit of John Bollinger. Break of the upper band is momentum upside, break of the lower band is momentum downside. I know that a lot of traders find it very popular to use as a revision to the mean. That is not the way it was intended by John Bollinger. Not that it doesn't work. And if anything works for you, by all means, continue to use it. I just, in the spirit of John and what he did with bands and envelopes, that's what I was looking for with this, to find momentum up. And then just have a volume component in here to make sure the stock's kind of actively trading. I don't want to see don't want to see something that trades 30,000 shares in a block, then doesn't trade for 20 minutes and trades another 15,000 shares in a block, and then doesn't trade for another 25 minutes. I want to make sure that we've got some activity going on in here for that. And then once I finished those filters, I said to that scan, once you find those stocks, I want you to sort by bringing the ones that are up the most from the open, bring them to the top of the list or let them on the list first. And then we get to the race part of it. Right click, show race setup. I'm running 3-minute races. The reason I run 3-minute races, I used to use 15-minute charts. 5 races at 3 minutes equaled a 15-minute bar. I don't use 15-minute charts anymore, but I never changed the time frame. I don't see a need to. I like the 3-minute time frame. I leave it at what it is. Just a personal preference. And then it's based on a change from open as a total accumulative from today's open. And we have it in descending order, meaning that we're descending from the top to the bottom on the most open, the ones that are up the most from the open. That's all I'm doing with the race there. And if I hide the race setup, you can see these are the ones that are up the most from the open and how they're currently moving relative to the open rate now. And not just to the open, but they also have to meet that Bollinger Band component. This race here, which was the second one that I shared, very similar in all that manner, except if we come into the top list here, click configure, you can see there is no Bollinger Band component to the scan. We're looking at stocks that are $8 to $30 versus what we had before. And we're looking at 550,000 shares traded or more on the day. So a little bit different. Volume component remains the same. So all the rest is the same outside of that. The race setup and all that's the same as the prior scan. And then this 10-day daily breakout. This is based on, for those of you that are in Traders Room with Barry, he has a 10-day daily breakout scan. It's a very nice scan. So I took that essentially, but it doesn't have the alert component because it's running a top list. But behind the top list component, we configure. We're looking at stocks $2 to $35. Got to have relative volume of 5 or better. 500,000 shares traded on the day. They got to be up 40 cents from the prior day's open. Right, if we click on that. Right, so we got that right there. And they got to be at the top of the 10-day range to get onto the scan as well. And so that's what that's doing. And then I'm racing it based on 3-minute race again, change from the open percent. This is doing it on a delta value, though, meaning that it's racing these stocks against each other based on where they are relative to the open currently, versus this is just a cumulative total of the open. Hopefully that all makes sense. Michael, Happy New Year to you as well. So, all right, so I covered all that. Let me just circle back. I want to make sure I got everybody's questions here. Race, so that's what we're covering. Oh, stop, Michael. Mike C, I know your Trade Ideas Most Eligible Bachelor. Again, sorry, I'm going to press enter too soon. I always set up a custom alert like 10% on the day, less than 10 million shares in the float, etc. Yeah. Awesome question. So Everett, if we come, let's do this as an alert window. So come over to the alert window. First component of alert window. It doesn't matter if you do filters first or alert first. That's entirely up to you. And sometimes it may be better to do one or the other based on what you're scanning. In this case, we're going to go with a new high alert on the day. So we'll add that, right? We're going to put a check mark there. Let's get rid of all the other ones here. You don't have to do new high, but I'm doing that here. There's other stuff you could do that, bullish alerts, and all bullish alerts will be indicated by green, bearish will be indicated by red, neutral will be blue. So what's something that's neutral? Well, let's find an example of that. So here we go. Consolidation, high relative volume, 1 minute spike. These are neutral. They could be bearish. They could be bullish. There's no, it's an is thing. When something's making a new high, obviously it's bullish. When something's making a new low, obviously it's bearish. When something just is, it's neutral. Hopefully that makes sense. There are other bullish alerts. I like to point out the running up family here. Very popular. Also has their down or their reverse component running down. These are for things that are making, sharp to sharper moves to the upper downside like that. So in this case, we're just going to go with the new high alert, right? And then you said up 10% on the day. So change from close. And we would find that as a percent here because we can see the values of the units it's working in. We'll add that filter. And then we'll put 10 here. And if you're ever confused about what a filter's doing, right click the filter, go to help, get a page here, and it shows you what you're doing. I would also recommend, if you're utilizing these pages, click that gear and set this to delayed so it doesn't log you out of the software, right? Because this is a web page here that has market data. And again, exchange regulations say we're only allowed to have users one login at a time. So if you're leveraging these help pages, which I hope you are, set that to delayed there, and you can do this with anyone, and you don't have to just right click to get that. If we come back to the search, we could select and go help, and it does the same thing. Then if you're confused about what adding a value to something does, click that show me function in the middle, and this will update real time. So right now it says show me stocks where the price is up at least 10% from the previous close. If I were to add 100 here, we'd be capping it. Then we'd see show me where it's between 10 and 100. If I press OK, see how that 100 transferred here as well. And so if you're just ever, especially for things like the position and range filters, sometimes when I'm trying to use negative numbers and things like that, I get a little confused myself. So I can imagine other people still do. Using that show me function, when you add values to anything, it'll show you what you're actually doing with the values you're adding to help it make sense if you're ever a little confused on that. So again, so we're up 10% on the day, less than 10 million shares in the float. Search, we're gonna look for float, add that filter. And so we put a maximum value here of 10, and we could put an M, and that'll be 10 million if I go to show me. This has got a histogram on it. All right, anyways, that 10 million, that'll be 10 million there. If I press OK now, we get a description of this here, what we've done, or a summary. We can name the window anything. And this is a place where I see a lot of new users get tripped up. They'll see another trade idea user that has a scan called, I don't know, breaking out on blah, blah, blah. And then they'll say, hey, can you send me the breaking out on blah, blah, blah scan? And I'll be like, where'd you see it from, right? Because I can name this anything I want. While this is looking for new stock, new highs that are doing these things, I could call this new lows crash scan. And it's not doing that at all, right? But I could call it whatever I want. So just always keep that in mind, that scans can be named anything. And there's an infinite amount of combination of scans that can be done out there. So, don't get overly caught up in things like that. Anyways, with that said, we can see here, we're looking at less than 10 million in the float, or 10 million or less, and stocks up that much. Now, want to head off an issue that does happen here. Our data provider, sometimes they lag on the float for whatever reason. It doesn't get updated properly. It doesn't happen with all stocks, but sometimes it just all of a sudden happens with a group of stocks. If you're running into a situation like that where something's not being alerted because there isn't float data, give me an email and I can get you a custom filter that will work for that situation where it's not perfect, but if our data provider isn't reporting a float, you'll still get the alert for that specific stock, and anything that's above the float that you don't want to see, you won't see that still. It's not perfect, but it's an okay workaround. And that's more or less the short and skinny on that, Everett, on how to build any alert window specifically to what you just asked for there. And again, you don't have to do the new high. You could do a different alert like that. If you want no alert whatsoever, you can build a top list instead, because top lists are only filters. But the big difference is an alert window. If I go ahead and click this out, an alert window, come on, alert window. Back. Alert window has a time-stamped alert here saying, bang, at this exact second, this stock did exactly what you were looking for me to look, or did exactly what you wanted me to look for, versus top list, which we have a top list over here. And we can see A for alert window, T for top list. Top list just refresh every 30 seconds. That's it. If the stock belongs on there, it stays on there. If it belongs on there, it comes on there if it wasn't already. And if it no longer belongs there, it filters itself off. There's no alert. There's no, hey, I'm on the scan or anything with the topless window. There's no way or work around that or anything like that. So those are the differences between the two. And we can do the same thing with the topless window, right? We can come in here, right click, configure. We can search, change from close. It's, the configures are almost exactly the same. There's just no selected alert in here. Change from close, and we get all the same filters and alerts and like that. All right, I know there's more things that are coming in. So, I'm going to try to catch up on those. Just bear with me here while I cycle through the questions that have been coming in. We got. Nice specific layouts I've saved to my computer. How do we save those to the cloud so I can access from other devices, software, iPad? Yeah, so Rode, what you're going to do is you're going to load that layout. So let's just say, for example, file, load layout, and then whatever that layout is here that's load, go ahead and load it from your local save. And then once you've loaded that, file, save or share to cloud, you'll click entire layout. You'll name that layout, and then you'll save it, and it'll be in your cloud, and whatever device you log into anywhere in the world, you'll have that layout right there like that. I think that's what you're looking for. iPhone, iPad, there really isn't a mobile version of this. So you're kind of in a tough position there. You can save it to the cloud like that, and you can try to load from our desktop web version, but it's not made for mobile. So you can give it a shot. I can make no promises on how well it will or will not work. But to find the desktop web version, it would be here on the download page, and you'll see alternative web access right there. You go ahead and click that, and there's a load from cloud function inside there for that. That's going to be the closest to what you're looking for. Like I said, outside of that for mobile, you're living inside of the market dashboard here where there's not really any configurations in there. The game plan is that this will become Trade Ideas Pro eventually with all the stuff that Trade Ideas Pro has. It's actively being worked on. When is it going to get delivered? I'm not a developer, so I really couldn't say, unfortunately. So covered that. When using the go, no go algorithm, when does it bail on the trend? Do you wait for change to red? Just eyeball. Yeah, I mean, so this is for Stuart here. Sorry, I know it took me a moment to circle back with other stuff that I was getting to, Stuart. It's really beauty's in the eye of the chart holder, right? I mean, let's take a look at this here. And we're in a situation here with this stock where, all right, we got our first go here, and it's kept us in the trade this whole time. Right. But if this thing were to kind of wind down slowly, it could take a long time before it gets into a no-go, and look how much you'd be giving up. Right. So you really want to do that versus if it takes a sharp move down like this, and maybe you get the no-go here versus the no-go here in price. Right. And getting out there. So because this is a trend following indicator, it's actually a bunch of indicators all compressed together to give the algorithm that this does. So the sharper a move is, the quicker you're going to see the bars change versus if it just kind of starts fading. It takes longer to see that change happen like that, like you would with there's moving average components, ADX components. I don't know what else is in here, and it's under lock and key anyway, so I can't really tell. First off, I don't know. Even if I did, I couldn't tell you because it's proprietary. But what I'm trying to indicate here is that all movements in this aren't created equal, right? So, take a look at Apple here. I'm trying to find an example of what I want to show. Yeah, so look, here we get a go here, and then, it doesn't become no-go until here. So do you really want to get out for a loss here, when you haven't really gone anywhere? I would call that a breakdown of the trade. It just kind of went nowhere, and you were in the money even for a hot minute here, right? So it becomes one of those. And then, you got out only to find it reverse on you here. So again, the idea behind the go, no-go and the trade wave is helping you follow trends and identify trends, and from there deciding, where do I fit into this trend? So let me know, Stuart, if that makes sense, if you have other questions, or if what I said was completely irrelevant to you, and then maybe point me in more of a direction you'd like me to head with that. Manage for float filter, is there a way to specify max float, say 20 million, that will also return stocks for which the float value is not present? Yes, there is. If you are familiar, actually, Manish, I think you and I have had some back and forths over since last Friday, if I'm not mistaken. I do a lot of back and forths, a lot of emails. I'm answering I'm answering thousands of emails a month. So forgive me if I'm mixing you up with someone else, but there is a custom filter for that. It requires you to have some custom knowledges. I can give you the actual filter and you just have to insert it into your own account. Bear with me. I'll share that. If you're having trouble figuring that out, come on. Sorry. Trying to get the pages here. All right, so here's my custom formula page. I like to use this. I don't like to use it in the software. It's just my personal preference. Find my no float. All right, so this custom filter here, this code, if a stock has a float within the range that you want, it'll be returned. If there's no float whatsoever, then you'll also still get returned that. So that's that. The signifying number is 111. So essentially, as long as you're looking at stocks above 111 in the float, you're good. And if it doesn't have a float, if you have float displayed as a column, anything with no reported float will display as 111 for the float, essentially. And so you'd use this just as you would use your float filter. You just get rid of you just don't use the float filter. Just take the value out of that in your scan. I can walk you in, or I could walk anybody in that wants that. Just let me know. If you already know how to do it, you don't need to walk in on it, then I'll skip that for now. If you need to walk in on it, let me know. That would be great. Rivian, if you let me know what you're referencing, that would be great. Sorry, because there's so many things that I've gone over in the last 10 minutes. I just want to make sure that I address whatever you were asking there. And then Stuart, all right, I'm glad that helped. And also, Stuart, if you're not using the trade wave, I mean, the trade wave in combination with the go no go could be, it's nice. So you might want to consider the trade wave. Let me know, Stuart, if you were here for the earlier part of the session when I went over the trade wave. If not, I go back over that, of course, for you. But I wouldn't. I don't see any reason to not put the trade wave up with the go no go, as long as you don't mind those things on your charts. I don't like a lot of stuff on my charts, as you can clearly see here on my regular charts. I got a VWAP and an 8 EMA, and then on my daily chart, I just have this this multi-period low indicator for 20 days, and that's it. I don't like stuff on my charts anymore. Just a personal preference. Annual subscription, what add-ons? So just 2 add-ons for you there, Road. The go no go indicator here on the charts that I'm showing off right there. That is an add-on product. We licensed this from the fellows that created this algorithm, essentially. And so you don't have this indicator unless you have that add-on. And then the AVWAP, the channel here. So we open a doc channel bar here. There's Brian Shannon's AVWAP here. Again, we work directly with Brian for creating this whole thing. So you wouldn't have access to the scans that are involved in here with the AVWAP if you don't have that add-on. So that's it. Those are the only 2 things. You have the trade wave, you've got, all that stuff like that. Yep, it comes with a regular subscription. Nope, no extra add-on for the trade wave. So for the trade wave, you got to make sure you're on our beta version of the software. So if you go to help and about, look for 5.6.104. That's the version you'll need to be on. That's our latest beta version. If you're not on that, you can get that on the download page. I'll get you a link to that. So right here on the download page, bang. And then just make sure, oops, hold on, bear with me. New tab, there we go. Just make sure on the download page here, you select the beta here on the right, and don't select this here. You want the beta, right? Once you've downloaded that, just want to make sure when you launch your chart that you want the trade wave on. You have the browser face enabled, so there'll be a little check mark there. By enabling that, you get this FX in the top left corner, and you can enable the trade wave there. And there's some settings here if you want to mess around with. I don't think anybody really wants to have like 50 trade wave signals on their charts, but you're welcome to if you want. And I wouldn't mess around with the EMA settings in here unless you have a reason that you believe certain EMAs and the crossover of the cloud will work better than what we're doing in there. I'm not saying that you don't. I'm just saying if you don't have something specific, I'd stick with what we got in there. And that's the short and skinny on the trade wave. Oh, trade wave, there's a little report here for the last couple of signals as well. And you can switch long to short, short to long. And then let's see, give you this video here. I shared it before. Let me share it again. This just goes over basically everything I went over there. So you can look at it at your own leisure, of course. And last but not least, we do have a couple of trade wave scans. They're all buys, daily, weekly, 5 minutes. So if you go to new, come on. Why would you go disappearing on me like that? Don't go break in my pod. Wants to be a jerk. All right, so if you go to new on the menu bar, look for Market Explorer window. And let's widen this out. We right click, you'll see select strategy. Tons of strategies in here. As I mentioned before, these cannot be altered in any way, shape, matter, or form. We create these on our end through a different technology than what alert windows and topless work on and push them out to users. And so you'll find the trade wave here, daily, weekly, 5-minute buy signals. And that's what you get here. And if it meets what we've done on the back end for the programming of the scan, you get a buy signal here on this. It doesn't necessarily line up with every buy signal on the charts because there are metrics behind these scans that will keep certain things out of this alert. But on the charts, basically anything that makes that EMA crossover is going to get the buy or sell based on the direction of the crossover. Hopefully that all makes sense. And any questions on that or anything else, get those in. I cannot believe what time it is already. Time is flying. Another phenomenal session here. No slideshow on the charts. Sorry there, Manish. You could always right click and no, sorry. Yeah, there's no just whatever chart you're going to have up, when you click on a race, it'll bring that chart up for you. That's it. One other thing I like to show with the race here that I forgot, I've been covering the races too much because there's been great questions the last several weeks I'm doing this. Right here is the finish line, winner's circle, whatever you want to call it. And you can see, look, REKR's won 14 races, 10 races, 8 races, 6, 5, 4, all the way down to 2 races here. I had this set. If I right click, it's I'm not showing all race winners. I'm showing a top 10, actually, the top 10 winners right now. I click show all. Now you're going to see it. Option for show top 10 winners instead. I can go through and every race winner that happened today, and it's still going to give me the number on the side. I like to just show the top 10 side, and it makes for a nice watch list during the day too, so that I can come back in here and say, well, Fubu hasn't won in a while, but what's going on there, right? FUBO. And I could say to myself, well, it's, pulled back some and whatever else. And, maybe I want to set a price alert for that $5 if we could break out that $5 level again here. And so it's a nice way to use that as a watch list. I just personally like the top 10. That doesn't make it right or better, just personal preference like that. On Holly channel additional when it pops up, explain please. Let me see here. Hopefully it's in the dock channel bar that you're talking about, because if it's in the regular channel bar, I can't open it right now because I will lose my whole layout. Let me take a look here. So additional window SM. What could that possibly be? Or do you have it on this long channel? And the on just means that's the channel you selected, by the way. So like, see how that says on here? If I select the explosive winners, now it's going to say on in the explosive winners. Take its sweet time here as my computer struggles. See, so big on right there like that. Road, if you can take a screenshot of what you're talking about and email to me, info@trade-ideas. If you could email that to me there, just say, hey, Chris, I was in the live stream and had, this question about this AI pop-up window here, and I could better address. I suspect the SMAR is just a default setting that's in there from when the channel was created. It's not probably relevant to anything right now. Because like you can see a lot of these channels, they just have, default charts that will pop up with the scans. Because, we have to have a chart that defaults when it opens. There's no way to give it logic to default to a chart based on the channel, unfortunately. So it's just going to have whatever chart was when we created it. It's a default that's there. I suspect, Rode, that's what you're running into. But if you could send me that screenshot there, that would probably that would help me to identify that and confirm for sure. My Trade Ideas app keeps crashing from time to time per session, not on the beta download. When you get that crash, are you getting any kind of message or it just completely crashes? So you know what you have going on there, Manish, for that? You've got our what's it called? Idea surfing. So if we look here on the channel bar, you see I have this idea surfing and it's paused right now. What that does is it'll cycle through the top 3 stocks on your top lists. And if you have any price alert windows, and it'll put those on the chart as a cycle through. That's what you've got going on in that channel right now. That's why you see that. Let me give you a link to the user's guide section of idea surfing. And that this will help also. You can bookmark this and go back and go over a little more. And the idea behind it was a passive way to look at charts while you may be tasked with other things. So let's say you're sitting at your desk. You're sitting at your desk, you're eating lunch or whatever, and you want to cycle through things, or you're on some kind of call or something, and you're kind of casually looking at charts still. You can't just be clicking around like you normally would. That's what the idea surfing is for. And Pepe, yeah, all right, Pepe, thanks. That's what I was figuring. Just if I open up a regular channel bar and click on that, I'll lose what I've got going on here, and I can't because I'm running some other stuff that I'm testing right now that I can't lose. So thank you, Pepe. All right, so complete crash, no message. All right. It's happening to some users. It's more spread than I would like it to be, but out of thousands of users, it's still probably a handful, unfortunately. And it's become very tough to isolate. I would say this, it's probably dependent on a couple of things. One, how much software you're running on your computer in general, and 2, what amount of scans and stuff that you have open within Trade Ideas. If you could shoot me an email with a cloud link to your layout, I can give you a kind of, hey, the layout's a little heavy. You got to lighten up a bit. So again, if you can shoot that to me at info@trade-ideas.com. I'll type that right. You could shoot a cloud link to your layout there and just say, hi, this is Matt, from the live stream, excuse me. And this is the layout. If you go in and take a look at that. If you try to use the go no go or trade wave when you're not on our beta, you probably run into some issues with that, because you need to be on the beta version for those features to work. And thank you. I'll keep an eye out for that email, and I'll get you my 2 cents on it. It's something the dev team's aware of. I crash a lot, actually. And so I feel the frustration as much as anybody else. And every dev meeting that I'm in, listen, guys, I keep crashing, and if I'm doing it, users are doing it. It's not awesome. Is it possible to write alert filter for volatility halt down only not up halts. You could do this for if you're trying to find down halts. If we go to alert window, right? Let's look for halt. We'll add that alert, obviously. And so while we can't create an exact logic for it, we could probably get something close where all of a sudden we're looking at stocks that are down over the last minute. So I go change 1 minute, and whether you want to do it in percent or dollars, I don't think that'll matter at this point. And then maybe put in, I don't even think you need to put a high number in here. Even if you put a 1/4% in here, right? Let's just test this out as well. So we're going to do that. And let's take a look at the history today and see how that would have sorted us out. History today. And so let's see. We got the, well, no, we didn't get it there. So maybe we do have to do a little bit more because it probably had pulled back at some point during that. And that thing just kept going afterwards. So that was right on the open too, though. Let's see if we got, let's see what it looks like on a few alerts. It fell right afterwards. Wasn't exactly what you wanted, but closer. Same thing here. So maybe you can see they're all falling right afterwards. I'm trying to think, what's a different filter we can use for this here that might be able to do this? It's going to have to be some kind of workaround, right? It won't, we're not going to be able to do this, like write the logic saying stock has to be halting down. I might have just froze. No, I didn't. All right. Let's see. So we have to work with a filter because alerts work independent of each other, but they work with filters. And yes, I would recommend, just like Pepe did, move to the beta. No, I'm going to be honest. I think that the beta is actually more stable than the production version, especially for anybody that's what I would consider a power user. I think the beta is a little better. So sorry, I'm still, usually, just so an FYI for everybody, usually I run these, or we run these support sessions from noon Eastern to 1 Eastern. I will stick around later if people are asking questions. So we're coming up on 1. I'm going to round out the question that I'm working on here with Manish. But if folks have more questions, get them in. I'm happy to stick around and help you folks out, right? I just, if nobody's asking questions, I'm going to wrap up for the day. No, Road, you shouldn't have to resave anything. But one thing I stress to everybody listening, please, I beg you, have everything backed up onto the cloud. Unless every server on this planet melts down, it will be safe in the cloud there. But, if something happens to your computer, you press something, a wrong button or something like that on resaving, oversaving, deleting, or anything on the local stuff, having it in the cloud as a backup will save you a lot of heartache in the future should any one little thing go wrong with anything locally saved. So please, I would recommend right-click every individual window, right-click and save or share to cloud. Every individual that you have that you want to keep, do every one of them individually, and then do your layouts as well locally saved. Updating should cause no impact to it whatsoever, but things happen. So back to trying to figure out how can we get this halt to alert mostly, at least, down moves. I don't know if it's possible, but let's try. Maybe we got to go up this change 1 minute. Let's up it to 1%, down 1% over the last minute. Now let's go to history. Nah, still didn't do it. Let's keep upping this up. This is part of what scan building is, trial and error, right? Back and forth with these kinds of things. Is there a detailed video on AI alerts using Holly? Yes. I have this video here. And if you have specific questions on Holly right now, Big Rands, don't be shy. Get those specific questions in here, and I'll go over those. I'll be more than happy to go over those. This is a video I did about Holly back in August, so it should be pretty good to go still. History today. Yeah, still giving me these alerts. There's a personal challenge. Also, Voxel's halting nonstop here. You know what? You are right. I'm a knucklehead. Thank you for pointing that out. Let's go minus 0.25. Aye, aye, aye. Let's start there. Let's start at the beginning again. Okay. Let's see what some of this looks like now. Aye, aye, aye. See, that's what, teamwork, right? Minus 1. Oh, wait, am I doing this right? Am I still doing this right? Price was up in the last one. Nope. I still wasn't doing it right. Let's go with minus 1. Let's start there. All right. So is this a halt down? Let's start here right on this. Yep. So it's halted on a down candle right there. Now let's look at today's history. Aye, aye, aye. I'm sorry. I wish. Okay, GDTC. Alerted on a down candle there. MEGL. On the way down. Voila, we've done it. I can't promise this will get every one of them, but I think that's what you want there. Now, I mean, I can share this with you if you need, or you can build it yourself. It's nothing overly complicated. Currently in Trader's Eye, swing channel is blank. I would guess that you're not logged into the software right now. So just go to account, reset your connection real quick, do it twice. Make sure that you're connected there, because you might have gone to one of the web pages that disconnects you from the software. I would bet that's what happens. The Trader's Eye and the swing channel. I tested the swing channel this morning because I set it up, and that should be there. Where is it? Dock channel bar. Where the heck is all this stuff? Trader's Eye. That I did not check, but Trader's Eye. No, Trader's Eye looks good. We got data coming in there, and swing trades, swing picks. Yeah, it looks good here too. For those that don't know, you do have access to this here in the dock channel bar. If you go down to the show more, and you go to, well, now it's up top because it's on. The swing picks is down there. These are that, and also, there's a welcome screen in here that is giving me a hard time for whatever reason. There we go. This gets emailed out to every subscriber. If you're not getting it, maybe check whitelisting us or something like that, or see if you put us on a spam list or something like that. We email this out to every subscriber, plus there are people that are subscribed to just this as an email product. And so on, usually Sunday evenings, this goes out. This welcome page will get updated Monday morning sometime. And I recently started doing a video. It's a little market recap, and then I just a little quick blah, blah, blah about each of the 5 stocks that are in here. I don't know that I'll keep doing the video moving forward. I added it to it recently. It wasn't part of the original product. With the loss of Michael Noss from the company, this was given to me as a new responsibility. And so I made a few tweaks with it and seeing how that goes. So anyways, you have access to this here as some swing ideas, and it comes from our strength alerts algorithm that Michael did create. Ranks stocks based on a number of things that he created for relative strength. And so the top 5, over the weekend, we let all the dust settle from volume and late settlements as best we can. And then we take the top 5 stocks in that algorithm and mail them out like this. Swing trade ideas is blank. All right, you're going to have to, because I clearly can't see what's going on your end. Give me an email to that info@trade-ideas.com. And with send a screenshot of that blank for me. And trade. Give me a screenshot of that. Yeah, you can try also restarting TI, like Pepe said, but it's definitely there. And there's no other reports of it not loading. And I'm going to guess Pepe went right ahead and tested it himself. So. Roadies and seminars pay big. Logic would have to be where the price went down 10% last 5 minutes, right? So no, because you could have a stock go down 10% in the last 5 minutes and not halt. It has to do with historical baselines of movement of the stock for the halts. There's a formula to it. I don't know what it is. We don't have a way to predict it here, but it's sharp moves compared to whatever the historics are on it. Probably there's a web search that you can find and figure that out. I don't personally do much in halts or resumes, so not of a personal interest to me. And like I said, we don't have a logic within the software other than we can show when the halts or resumes happen. I know there's some folks out there that, watching time and sales, they have a good idea of if a halt or resume is going to happen, but we don't have a way to do that within the software. So, all right, that covers that. That covers that. That covers that. All right. I think I'm caught up on everything for the moment here. I know there's probably now some emails waiting for me after this. I can get to those shortly here. But does anybody else have any other questions? Like I said, usually I finish at 1 Eastern. I will stick around if there's questions. If not, I'll wrap up for the day here on the on the live stream. So don't be shy, folks. Happy to answer any questions that you folks have out there. All right, so I'll take it as the silence. No other questions incoming for the moment here. So I'll start to do my walkout. There's 2 different channel bars, and there's a show more function on there. So if we go to new, you have channel bar and dock channel bar, and they both have show more, right? So if I open the dock channel bar, see the show more down here? You want to click on that bad boy. And there you go. You'll see a bunch more channels there. On the regular channel bar, exactly the same thing. New channel bar. I'm going to widen this out this way. And if I click show more, bang, bunch more there too. How do we lock all windows to one page? So, I mean, we have the docking feature. I'm not sure if that's what you want, but see, I have all these in a container window like this. To use that feature, this is how I personally do it. I'd go new, open a docked window. I'm going to get something that looks like this. We're going to cancel. Brings you to the user's guide section of this. And now let's just say I wanted to start putting stuff in here. I could right click this scan. And you see how this says Trade Ideas Pro Dock up here? I right click, duplicate into Trade Ideas Pro Dock. I can name this if I want to, right? And the dock instructions I can get rid of. If I right click at the top of the dock, change title and testing dock windows. And there you can see now it says testing dock windows up top here. And I've got that in here. And then I could, I could take this scan, right click and duplicate into testing dock windows. And you can see they're tabbed. And if I want to move them so they're side by side, I take this out of the tab and you can see there's a little tool here that appears. And it'll show me exactly where it's going, just like that. I can take any of these windows and bring them in there. So there's Holly comes in. Now I've got, Erase and Holly and this together, and I could take a chart and put it in here and so on and so forth like that. Now, some people may have a default setting to open everything into a docked window. I don't personally like that. If you go to Tools, Options, and you go to Layouts, you're going to see here, Open and Docked Window. I have that unchecked. That's my personal preference. I don't want things going into a docked window unless I say go into a docked window. I want things open free floating, so I have the option of free floating. If you open everything into a docked window, you lose the free floating option. So, but you can always put it into a docked window afterwards. You just can't make it free floating. You could duplicate into a free floating, but it's an extra step that I think is unnecessary. So I leave that unchecked. But again, personal preference. That's how you can do that to have it all in one container window and then put it on a page and save it like that. If you save anything, if you save a layout anyway, when you open the layout, it will open how you saved it to that page. And if you want things to open to your main window always, that's where Tools, Options, and in general, you'll see, nope, I lied, Layouts, you will see open relative to main window. And so if you open anything under new, it'll open relative to your main window essentially. And those are all you can do. There's no way to like program within it, say, open to screen 1 like that, or lock to screen 1 or screen 3 or what, however many screens you're working like that. Those are the options that you have as far as, opening to specific windows and all of that. You can't change the channel bar at all. There's nothing you can do with the channel bar other than open the channels. You can add a couple of custom channels if you want. I don't think it's I don't leave a channel bar open, so it's just more things to take up data on my screen that I don't need, but that's up to you. There's no customizing the channel bar outside of that. So like we go to New and Channel Bar, and you cannot do this with the dock channel bar. If you look up here on the gear, you can edit custom channels or channel description. And that's it. So you can come in here and you can, add a channel, you can give it an image, and you got to upload your cloud link to the layout that it's going to come from and all those things like that. It's just not a feature that I care for personally. Again, I don't use the channel bar for anything ever other than supporting it because I have my own set of scans and everything like that. And, this takes up data and bandwidth. And so I don't want unnecessary bandwidth and data taken up on my screen. That's just my personal preference. My shortcuts on the bottom left, where do I access that? My shortcuts on the bottom left. Shortcuts on the bottom left. Swing trade ideas. Swing trade ideas. Swing trade ideas is blank. Not the swing picks. Correct me if I'm wrong. Not the swing picks. I don't see a swing channel. I know we used to have one, or I thought we did. If you're if you're talking about this is Epic Pen. It's just a separate program that I used to draw with. Everything else here is just my regular desktop. These are just programs I have on my desktop. Anybody can recognize what these are, kudos to you. Outside of that, yeah, the AVWAP channel is an add-on. We worked with Brian Shannon on that and we licensed him essentially to build that channel from his book. You know, he worked directly with us on how that should look based on him. Dock channel bar, is it in here? I don't see a swing channel. I wonder if you guys are on an older version of the software that has that. In the trader's eye. Okay. There may not be anything. So Andy updates this daily. So there may not be anything meeting the scan. That's what that probably is. I got you. Yeah, trader's eye. So nothing's meeting the scan. That's all it is. So it's an alert window. Maybe it's not on the right symbols list. I have to ask Andy what list this should be using. Swing trade watch. Hold on, let me see something. QRS. I wonder if that is the issue here, and that it's not pointed at the right symbols list now. I have to get with Andy on that. I think that's the issue right here. As I say, takes a village. So yeah, that's what's going on here on that swing trade ideas there in that channel. I think it's defaulting to the wrong channel. I'm gonna have to ask Andy about that when I wrap up here with you folks. Can you share scans, layouts with our users? Is there a forum where you can access those? There's no public forum for that, but you know, you can share stuff via the cloud, right? Like I've shared a bunch of links in here earlier. You know, you come to File, Save or Share to Cloud. You know, actually I lied. Come to File, Load from Cloud, and I can click on any of these, click Share, and I can copy this link here and then send it over to you folks. So like if you want my layout, I can share it. There's things in my layout that won't work for you because they're customized specifically to me. But again, you know, if I go ahead and I click share and a copy and I paste it. You know, that's my layout there. There's other things that are on another screen that you don't see right now that are part of my layout. I would also say that if you're not spending time in the trader's room, Barry shares all of his scans there. And there's probably some folks that are in that room that are willing to share scans with you too. So if you're not in the trader's room, here's a link to it. When we wrap up here, I couldn't stress enough that you need to be in this room. There are not a lot of things you need in life. This is a need, trust me. You need and want to be in that room. Considering you mentioned you don't typically use a channel bar since you have your own scan, where's the value prop to go with the premium over paddle if that was your determining factor? So if you want to do back testing and optimizing of your own alert windows, you need premium. You want to see Holly alerts, you need premium. Premium allow you to have up to 20 charts at once versus 10 charts at once, RBI and GBI windows. I think that's the real main stuff. Should you decide that automation is a path you want to take in your trading journey, you need premium for that. There is no bot you can just plug in and make money. No such thing exists on this planet. Sorry for those that think there is, but there isn't. Automation is you have an idea for a scan. You try to build it as close as you can with an alert window. You'd back test and optimize that window, but not over optimize it or curve fit it. And then you would be able to automate that window. You'd first, of course, want to automate it in our paper simulator before going live. If it works well in the paper simulator, then you would go live with it. Going live with anything in automation, you're going to want to go very light on the risk management and share size to begin with. If it works, because you can't. There's some things you can't simulate. That's just the way the world works. But should it work in the beginning, early live trading, you start to increase those share sizes, risk management accordingly afterwards. So those are the big ones. The difference between the paddle-in or basic versus Momentum Master Premium. Paddle-in is basic; they're the same thing. And Momentum Masters, whatever it is, Momentum. Yeah, I think it's Momentum Master. That's our premium service. Those are the big ones. Share my favorite three. If I share my overall favorite three windows, yeah, sure. So file, load from cloud, share. This is the race in the top right. I shared it earlier. I share it again. There's that. My evening scan. Share that. And there that is. And gee, what would be my third favorite window? You know what? Because I like to pick on perma bears and doom and gloomers. Position lifetime range. That'd probably be my third favorite window. Now these other, I went over some of this other stuff earlier, but just for reference, this position lifetime range. I'm looking at stocks here that are within 15% of their all-time highs and some volume metrics in this. So we're just not looking at any old thing. So relative volume's got to be kicking at 1 or higher, prices 8 or above, then 15% of a lifetime high, and trade at least 1 million shares on the day. And when we're in a bull market like we are and people start calling for a crash, I like to point out this window and say, look how many stocks are within their all-time highs, like literally in shooting range of it. Does that look bearish to you? It doesn't look bearish to me. But, then again, duty on the eye of the chart holder. So, this is something I like to look at. Eventually we're going to have a bear market. We're going to sell off and, we're going to have a 20% drawdown in the overall markets and all those things like that. It will happen. That's the way it goes, right? It's not happening today. Right. And, this is why I'm referencing it here because, was it last week or 2 weeks or whatever it was, we had this down day here. And, you look at the size of that red bar and you're like, oh my goodness, look at the size of that. And then look at it on a percent basis and then talk to me. Right. Now, look, sell-offs have to start somewhere, right? And if we're going to have a sell-off, sure. Could this have been a top? And could we be headed down? Absolutely. 100% could be. Anybody that's predicting it and saying this is going to be the sell-off, the sell-off of sell-offs, I'll tell you what, go back over their history and I'll bet they've got 1,000 other times it was the sell-off was coming and they were wrong 999 times out of those 1,000 and they got it right once. And so they're less right than a broken clock. So my point being here is this is why it's one of my favorite scans. Whenever I'm thinking to myself, how bearish are things looking right now? This is one of the indicators I use. How many stocks are on this? What do the stocks that are on it look like, right? Yes, I shared a link to the trading room. It should be 2 links above the last link. It should be 4 links recently, and the top of the 4 links, that should be the traders room. Here it is again. Yeah, exactly. The crash isn't happening today. I'm not saying it won't happen. I'm saying it will happen at some point. We will have a quote crash, and we could split hairs about what a crash is. My point being is we will have a bear market. It's going to happen. Bear markets happen. They're part of a cycle. There are more bull markets than bear markets. Bull markets last longer than bear markets, and that's how it's been. And generally speaking, whenever someone tells you this time it's different, it's either satire and they're making fun of the people that believe that, or they're truly misinformed. We'll call it misinformed or disingenuous. So either way, that's how this all goes. The shared link should all be in the column, the comment section, wherever on your YouTube that you can see comments. You know, I don't know how you have your YouTube screen set up, but that's where they're going to be. So, I mean, I can bring over a YouTube page of what we're doing. Bear with me because it's going to create feedback and whatever else in the loop on me here. Hold on a second. But look, here's YouTube. Here's, if I was watching on YouTube, this is what it looks like for me and should likely look like for you. And you can see all the links that are here, right? Chat, links. So look over somewhere on the right side for the chat. I don't know if you popped it out or whatever else, but I mean, you'd be typing, everything you're typing to me is being typed in here. And so you should see all that here. Like I can see this right here, your last comment there. That's how that should go. But like I said, where exactly it's living on your page, I couldn't say. So let me get rid of that. So, all right. Good session. We're into overtime. Oh, you're very welcome, Conquistador. And I'd also always say this when you're hemming and hawing the plans, right? Do I go basic or do I go premium? Go basic to start. It can't hurt you, right? You can always upgrade. Downgrading is different, right? So start with less. You can add. Subtracting is a little bit of a slippery slope with our billing policies. So I'd rather not see you get in that position and be upset about anything. And also this, you know, there are features in this software that are extremely advanced. They're not just advanced to software use, but to trading in general and market mechanics. And so there's no reason to go out and get the most advanced features if you're still just learning trading and software in general, right? No reason to, you know, bite off more than you can chew. It's like, look, you're a family of four, and you know, you're not going to run out to Costco and buy 400 pounds of chopped meat, right? Stock up on it. It'll go bad before you can ever use it. Well, the same thing. Why pay for something you may not use for 2 or 3 months as far as the software goes, right? If you have, you know, you're not going to get into back testing and optimization for a while. There's no reason to be paying for it, right? When you're ready to, then you add it on. Yes, there's one shared link for the trading room. All the other shared links were for the scans that I put in there. They're all still there. You can see them right now. I can see them in YouTube itself, just like I showed a moment ago. You may have to scroll back up again into the chat to find those. If you're having difficulty finding those, shoot me an email to the info@trade-ideas.com address. But again, you know, if we look here, there's the link. I can click it right now. If I click it, this was what happens. I get this cloud window here, and I can copy that and then load that, you know, from the file bar, from the menu bar. But they're all right here. And so if you're missing those, you should, you know, you should be able to just give me an email if you're missing those there. But again, you know, if we're looking here, Mike C, you're very welcome. Always good to see you. These are the scans right there. That's the trader's room. Not possible. I'm clicking on it right now. I'm clicking on exactly what I gave you. It's right there. See, relative strength from the open shared. position, lifetime range. So the scans are 100% there. I'm confirming it on the YouTube page with you now. So just make sure that you're clicking the right one. And you can see here, or here where it says account management. These say cloud. Look for the ones that say cloud on them, not account management. But again, if you're having trouble getting to that, just shoot me an email to info@trade-ideas.com and say, hey, I was looking for those scans that Chris shared in the live stream. So again, I see, some pretty good numbers here. Take a screenshot of that. I'm gonna show that off. I ain't seen those numbers ever in our live streams, to be honest. Again, anybody with questions, fire them in. I'll stick around. Like I said, if not, I'm going to wind out. But, questions have kept coming in. So don't be shy. Don't be shy. So again, I'm going to give an auctioneer's countdown here in my head to wrapping up for the day on questions. So we'll start with the old going once, and I'll do the rest in my head. Not sure what to ask yet. This live session held weekly. We'll also check out Trojan. So this live session is held daily, actually, every day at noon Eastern. Like I said, we usually go noon to 1 Eastern. But I'm always willing to stick around unless I have another meeting or another obligation. Sometimes I do have meetings with the development team and the marketing teams at 1 o'clock Eastern. These are on Tuesdays and Thursdays. But like for an example, on Mondays, I generally don't have other meetings. So I will stick around like I did today for that extra time. The traders room, isn't quite open formed in this regard where, Barry's talking about, more charts and trading and stuff like that. He's got the software up. He shares the scans. He's talking about that stuff too. But Barry can answer a lot of software questions. The one thing that I always say about Barry is that, he's monitoring a lot with different chats and different things that are going on. So just making sure that people are, within the range of what we want done in the rooms, and nobody's trying to do anything shady within the rooms and stuff like that. So, and then the other thing is, for example, Barry doesn't do a ton of back testing. Does he know how the back tester works? Yeah, he knows how it works, but he doesn't get into like the real nitty gritty of the back tester like I've done over the years. Some things like that. So Barry can get you, over the beginning humps on some of the really advanced stuff. But he's not, like I said, he's not running the back tester nonstop. He's not running things in automation. He doesn't use much in Brokerage Plus. But he can certainly get you, walk through the simulator and stuff like that. Building of scans. Barry is a whiz when it comes to building scans and different thoughts behind them and stuff like that. And the chart functions and all those things like that. Barry's an expert on all those things like that. So, the money machine is relative strength momentum kind of thing. The idea behind it is to keep you in the top 3 stocks of momentum scans. Its original concept, while great, lacked risk management, trade risk management. And so we're trying to implement ways into that and then move it forward as an automated system. Still all in testing, still very preliminary, still very exciting. But, we're a ways off from some of that. I say a ways off. The development team doesn't always give us a full insight to things, until it's near delivery at this point. So, where we stand on the automation of that, I can't say exactly. I won't be shocked if in 10 days from now they say we're going to start, testing it with all of us internally. I also won't be shocked if it's a month before they say that too. So it's, heavy worked on. It's a main focus right now and all those things like that. And that's what the money machine is for the moment. So, I tell people, especially newer traders, I wouldn't put too much attention on that for the moment. I'd focus on the basics of A, the software, and B, the basics of trading for now. And as the money machine comes closer to delivery, the automation part's what everybody's after. That comes closer to delivery, then, start to get into more of the nuts and bolts of that. But there's a lot I just can't show right now because I don't have access to it outside of just watching it. And it just moves too fast for me to trade the money machine personally. That's all. We can look at it real fast. Let me bring it up here. It's on the market dashboard. We're working on bringing it into TI Pro itself, but essentially what it's doing is it's trying to keep you in the top 3 of any scan. So right now it's, defaulting to be this scan that's here. But the problem is, let's say this drops out and this takes over, right? So I got to close this. First, I got to open 3 positions. It takes time to open 3 positions. Then this drops out. This comes in. Now I got to close that and I got to add this, or I got to add this and close that, whichever order you want to do. And then all of a sudden this drops out too. And now this takes this place. And then this drops out and this takes that place. And it becomes very tricky to try to manage opening and closing all those things at once. And that's why it's really the juice will behind when we get it automated. And again, I don't have a timetable to share with you on that. So that is the short and skinny of the money machine. And again, I'm kind of in my head on that auctioneer's count, as far as questions coming in. So again, don't be shy. If you've got a question, get those in here. Anybody, and listen, I'm going to assume out of 105 people watching right now, not everybody's a Trade Idea subscriber. So if you have questions on the software about, what it is we're doing here, get those in for me too. And I'll work those questions out, obviously, the best I can with answers. Close that down there. Very happy, Road. Very happy to assist. I'd say this. I'm guessing. You've subscribed. I'm guessing within the last month. Maybe it was a couple of days ago. Maybe it was 3 or 4 weeks ago. But I'm guessing you're on the newer side of things. And so I would just say, show up to this as much as you can. Spend some time in the traders room with Barry as much as you can. And if you just give it a little patience and quote, a little effort, as we all say. All of a sudden, once you've got the basics down on the software and you start to know what you're really trying to do with the software, things start to fall like dominoes as far as software use goes. StreamYard tells me that. So maybe it's people rotating in and out and it's only 18 live. So like here, I can take a screenshot and show you. So that's what I've got there, but maybe that's people that have come and gone. But I've never seen the number get that high in StreamYard before. So that's where I'd be getting that. I don't know if I can scroll in on that. Control. Yeah, there we go. There we go. So that's where I'm seeing that. No, it goes down. Like now it's up at 107, but I've seen it drop into the 90s a few times. It must be views then. All right, that makes sense. Well, no. It can't be views because it does go down. It does go down. Like, see, now it's at 107. Well, you can't see. I can take another screenshot and show. Like now it's at 107. And if I wait a minute or two here, I'm sure it'll tick back down again. But it was up at like 105 or 106 and dropped down to 93. Maybe it's cumulative. So it's views plus viewers. So if I lose viewers, it can only drop X amount. I can reach out to StreamYard and ask, of course. I see what it is. Okay, so I forgot. I'm streaming this not just to YouTube. I'm streaming on Twitter to my personal Twitter account and our company Twitter account. So we got 71 viewers on our company Twitter account. I have 16 on my account, and there's 20 on YouTube. I figured it out all on my own. Look at that. Take a screenshot of this. So there we go. So Twitter company, Twitter me, and YouTube. Voila. That's good data to have. So, all right, I guess we're at 140. That's going to do it for me today, folks. I appreciate everybody being here. I have to say, over the last 3 months, these have been some of the best sessions that I've done. There's many more questions coming in here. People are much more engaged. The questions are phenomenal. First off, there's no bad question, number one. But second, all the questions seem to be relevant. Nobody's coming in here with nonsense. How much money can I make and stuff like that. It's really great software-driven questions, trader-driven questions. Prior to the last 3 months, there's just a lot of silence and me talking about charts and like whatever I could do to fill airtime. And I don't mind doing that. It's not awesome. Plus, listen, you could hear anybody talk about charts and stuff like that, but you're not going to find as many people as versed on the software as I am streaming. So also it helps to have a good supporting cast here. While Pepe will play Mr. Modest, Pepe is without a question a whiz for all things tech, including trade ideas. So, all right, I'm going to give it one last auctioneer's countdown. And while I again share the traders room link, if you are not in our traders room, you are doing yourself the greatest disservice. Please get in that traders room. Yeah, go ahead, Rod. Fire that question at me. And again, I do this, or we do this as a company every single trading day. As long as the market's open, we do this at noon Eastern every day. What's the X link? So here's mine. I don't do anything really special on my account, my X account. I'm, what am I? I like music, video games, stuff like that. I like a lot of trading related stuff. I don't put out a lot of trading related content. There's people that are way better than that than me. Anyways, that's my. Okay, that's the traders room. Sorry, that's what I meant to give you first. So there's the traders room. Here's my X account, my Twitter account. Not a fan of calling it X. And here is here's our company account. When you open floating windows, can you hide the window name to save some screen space? I don't think so. There's a small borders option, but it doesn't really do anything in my opinion. So like if I click this here and I go to property, if I right click, go to properties, you'll see small borders. Doesn't really do anything. It just takes away that T in the top left corner. That's it. So that's really it as far as that goes. So there is that. That would be it on the space saving as far as that goes. So, all right, folks, that's going to do it for me today. Phenomenal session, hour and 45 minutes in, and we were engaged the whole way. So I thank you all very kindly for being here. Really appreciate all the engagement. And let's see, you'll see Andy tomorrow and Steve on Wednesday. And then it'll be markets closed on Thursday for President Carter's funeral. So it'll be a market holiday on Thursday. So I don't think anybody's going to be here Thursday. and one of us three will be here on Friday. So stay tuned for who that may be. Thank you all again, and you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your Monday. Take care.